What is going on today, Gooners? Welcome back to an episode of Plug and Police, the only review series on YouTube that does not use affiliate links in the reviews and also does not have money, and those things are completely unrelated. Today we'll be checking out Izotope RX11, one of Izotope's many milking machines. Izotope RX is an all-in-one app / VST3 plugin for audio repair and post-production. In this video, I'm hoping to answer, is Izotope RX11 worth it for you? Is it worth it as an upgrade, and is it worth it as an overall purchase? It has some great tools, some mid tools, and some absolutely awful tools. For quite some time now, in every new version of Izotope RX and basically all of their softwares, they've only added or upgraded a few tools, and it's pretty expensive software, so it's somewhat disappointing, and it makes it hard to justify paying for the upgrades. The last version, RX10, had a tool to transcribe audio into text, and let me just say, it was one of the worst things I've ever used. It was downright hilarious. I had to transcribe the audio from their own trailer on their own website, and basically every single word was incorrect. If you watch all my videos, you've probably seen me play this clip a few times at this point, but it's simply too good. Our extent standard as a complete cat for audio cleanup and music and personal productions, from automatically removing noising, the antlers of Preprescent and the ATAL, Rebel near string mixes with music Ravalance, and R extends, first addeth tools at the same time, Reverie. Now this new version seems a bit more promising in terms of new features as well as quality, but I can't shake the feeling that Izotope is just milking us for every last dollar. Some of the new features in this version include updated music rebalance, updated repair assistant, updated dialogue isolate, updated contour dialogue, loudness optimizer, mid and side processing as opposed to just stereo processing, and audio device refresh. It has many other great tools. I'm mostly just gonna focus on the new tools today because that's really what's important when we're reviewing this. If you're curious about the old tools, you know, it does some great things such as denoising, de-reverb, de-crackle, de-click, but you don't need to pay for RX11 in order to get those. With the older versions, you basically already get access to all of these, so you could save yourself some money, or you could, check out some of the alternatives I'm going to talk about later on. They basically have everything. DS, de-hum, de-crackle, D's nuts. Guitar denoise is kind of decent. Mouth to click is something I actually use pretty often. So one of the most sought after features they have taken way too long to get into, and that is the music rebalance. When Izotope RX7 came out, the music rebalance tool was pretty fresh. There wasn't too many competing softwares or plugins, etc., that were doing the same thing. Music rebalance, for those of you that don't know, is a way to rebalance the stems in your software, even though you don't have them. You can use this to isolate just the vocals and remix it, or you can turn up just the vocals. Now it'd be so awesome that they finally updated it since RX7. The only problem is there's a million other people making software like this now, some of them doing it for free. And I've complained about them not updating this since version 8 or 9 because why not? Like, the algorithms have been slowly getting better over time, not even slowly, I would say at a moderate speed. And they've just been ignoring updating it the entire time. I don't understand why. And they finally updated it in this version. And wouldn't you believe it, it's still a little bit worse than Ultimate Vocal Remover 5, which is fucking free. So obviously I'm not going to compare a bunch of songs for this part. I just picked a random song that I had mastered for a friend in the past, and I set both RX11 and UVR to isolate the vocals on max settings. Here are the results.
Light a stogie to keep focus right. Send it through the focus right. Spit through a broken mic, conversing with the poltergeist. Light a stogie to keep focus right. Send it through the focus right. Spit through a broken mic, conversing with the poltergeist. Light a stogie to keep focus right. Send it through the focus right. Spit through a broken mic, conversing with the poltergeist.
What are you paying for? You're paying for something a little bit worse when it comes to music rebalance. Now, granted, most people that are buying Izotope RX are probably not going to be using it for the music rebalance tool. If you are, I feel like you're just not in the know. If you're in the know, you're going to know about Ultimate Vocal Remover or something with the demux algorithm. Like I said, in RX7, they were ahead of the curve. In RX11, they are behind it. Granted, it's pretty close, but it's not worth paying for. The dialogue isolate is actually, it's pretty good. I actually messed up while recording this video somehow and ended up with a noisy recording with buzzing throughout the entirety of it. I ran the audio through a few different softwares and ended up going with RX11's dialogue isolation. It did sound the most natural and least damaged. I tried Adobe Podcast and also Waves Clarity. Here's a quick clip comparison of each of them. They did not like them jokes. They're probably fine with the milking jokes. They didn't like the personal jokes, though. They did not like them jokes. They're probably fine with the milking jokes. They didn't like the personal jokes, though. They did not like them jokes. They're probably fine with the milking jokes. They didn't like the personal jokes, though. They did not like them jokes. They're probably fine with the milking jokes. They didn't like the personal jokes, though. RX11 and Clarity both did a pretty impressive job. I would say the difference between them is negligible. Adobe Podcast did feel unnatural to me. It feels like Adobe recreated my voice. And that's why it's weird to hear it while I am talking. Once again, not perfect, but no software that does this sort of thing is completely perfect because the task at hand that you're asking it to do is pretty intense and not something you could do with regular processing tools like an EQ, compressor, etc. Does this mean you should just get shitty recordings all the time and then slap this crap on it? No. So they basically improved the algorithm behind it. You can adjust the dialogue and noise levels of a particular recording, and you can select it for just a particular part of the recording or the entire recording. And you can also control the reverb within it too. So in the advanced version of Izotope RX11, you do get a multi-band version of the dialogue isolate tool. Is that something you really need though? I don't know. I'm sure it could be useful. Maybe some nerd out there has figured out a way to do it. I don't know though. We don't need multi-band everything. At a certain point, multi-band is not helping fix the problem. I don't know if it's making it worse, but I don't know if it's helping fix the problem with dialogue isolation. Okay, the next tool they have updated is the dialogue contour. And it doesn't seem that much different to me. It's just such a random tool. If you want to try to edit somebody's take because you don't like the way they said something, the inflection or something, you can maybe edit it a bit, but even they can't wield this tool well themselves. In their own video, I'll play it really quickly here, they can't even use it well themselves. How am I supposed to get excited about using it?
Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed.
Am I saying it's unusable? No, I am saying it's very hard to use. I'm not sure if that's their fault, but even they know it's hard to use because they're just like, fuck it, when they're making this demo here. Okay, so they updated the repair assistant here. I don't really care for it that much. I don't think I've never heard anyone ever talk about it. That's all I gotta say. I never heard anyone be like, check the new Izotope repair assistant tool. The what? One good thing about this version of the repair assistant though is it actually gives you the option to select what sort of thing you are inputting into it. But it does analyze for clipping, kicks, hums, noise, reverb, I guess the noise, the hum and clipping could be useful. I generally find the declipping in RX to be pretty damaging though, at least in my experience. I don't know if I've ever actually used declip in Izotope RX and then was like, yeah, that's better than the original take. Let's go with that. It just fucks up the sound. It sounds like there's something wrong with the highs afterwards. The updated repair system though is in the standard and advanced version. Okay, this one I thought was kind of interesting. I haven't really seen too many other tools like this. They added something called the loudness optimizer. It's really hard to explain. I watched the video explaining it 20 times and I kind of get it, but I don't think I get it enough to explain it to people. From what I could tell though, it uses upward compression to bring up the quieter parts of the song so that it measures the LUFS. I know this is some really nerdy shit. If you're not following this at this point, I don't blame you. Anyways, LUFS is a measurement for loudness of a song, a different measurement than just decibels, because something could be 0 decibels and sound louder than something else that is 0 decibels. And it basically measures the perceived loudness. Now, when measuring the perceived loudness, the quieter signal can mess up how it analyzes it. So essentially, this tool utilizes upward compression to bring up those quieter parts of a song. It allows the LUFS measurement to be lower, which makes your song not get turned down as much on streaming platforms, from what I'm aware of. If I got any of that incorrect, let me know down in the comments. I would not be surprised. This tool gives me the uncanny ability to sound like a nerd, but also not what I'm talking about. at the same time, which that's really fucking difficult. For instance, though, it may be instead of being negative 14 LUFS, after adjusting with loudness optimization, it may be negative 16, which may actually have Spotify turn you up to LUFS, making your song sound louder than it would have otherwise. I actually think this is a pretty awesome tool. Granted, this is something you could do manually, but the fact that it does it automatically, pretty good stuff for mastering. They've also added something called streaming preview. It essentially allows you to preview what your song would sound like on different platforms via the presets. It adjusts the codec, it adjusts the loudness, the LUFS. Just something I feel like should have been in here a long time. Like, I don't know why they really added this. You can already kind of do this in Ozone, so it's not really like that new. It just seems like they kind of built out the thing that already exists in Ozone a little bit more and made it more streamlined and easier for people who don't know what they're doing. But I feel like if you're using RX11, you probably know what you're doing. So it's just kind of a confusing thing to add, or understanding why they would add this. But I do have a strong feeling I know what they're going to add in Ozone next. It's probably going to be the streaming preview feature and the loudness optimization feature. And that is how they milk you, guys. That is how they milk you. They gave you a handful of features. Some of them already existed in their other softwares. Now, one of the most useful things they've added in here is something very niche that you will not be using very often unless you're the most creative motherfucker on the planet, and that is the mid-side feature. Now, normally when you're working in Izotope RX, you have the left channel and the right channel, and you can process each one differently if you want to, or process them together. Generally, you're going to be processing them together unless there's a reason. Like, for instance, there's a click only in the left ear. Maybe you just want to do it only in the left ear. That way, in case it does any sort of damage to the audio, it's only going to do it to the left ear. Not a big deal. What's great about mid-side is essentially every single feature and module within RX, you can actually process via the mid only or the side only or combined. Like I said, really cool stuff. Okay, maybe cool is a bit, that's overselling it a bit. It adds a lot of flexibility, but it's for something that you would rarely ever be using. Because if you find yourself rarely ever processing something different on the left or right channel, I could bet you're probably going to be fixing stuff even less often with the mid versus side channel. Like, I personally can't even think of too many situations off the top of my head where I would want to do this. It's very situational, and it's something, you're just gonna have to run into it in the wild. Now, if that sounds like something that's useful for you, that could be like the only selling point you need for this, because that adds a lot of flexibility, being able to do that with every single tool in here. But it's just something that I personally find myself never using it, and I don't think too many people do. It's really just a very situational thing. Said this already, Ultimate Vocal Remover absolutely destroys Music Rebalance just because it's free. It's free and better. In the instances I've used it, it's better. There are websites such as MVSEP, which is a music and voice separation tool. It uses DMux 4. It has a lot of these algorithms that you'd find in Ultimate Vocal Remover. So Waves Clarity is a decent alternative to Dialog Isolate. While it is cheaper, it does not have D-Reverb, but I believe Waves does have a D-Reverb thing, but I also don't like Waves. I don't like a lot of these companies, if you haven't figured that out. If I had to pick between Waves and Izotope, which one had to survive, which one would I rather use the tools of? Probably go with Izotope, but if we're talking about how much I gotta pay for them, I don't know, man. Because prices on Izotope stuff is it's too high, and they're charging too much for what it is. Wave stuff, at least, they're just like, hey, we're not charging much for this. We're gonna have these fake sales or whatever that are probably illegal in America. I don't think they're based in America, though, so it's not a problem. Now, I've heard pretty good things about Acon Digital Restoration Suite. They have denoise, dehum, declick, declip. It's a restoration suite, essentially. That's kind of what Izotope is. In my opinion, at least from just looking at it, the denoise looks a little archaic. Pretty much any denoise tool that requires a dynamic noise profile, that's some 2015 shit. You know what I mean? Come on, get out of here with that. How fucking old are you, man? God. So I've heard great things about Steinberg Spectra layers also. As you can see, very familiar interface there. They have two different versions of it. The Elements version, which is $47.99, and the full version, which is $179.99, I believe, with a free trial. So that's stuff for removing sounds, noise, clipping, clicks, transients, etc. Not gonna lie though, I have not personally used it. Let me know in the comments, guys. Does Spectra Layers compete with RX11? If you are a serious audio engineer, a mastering engineer, maybe even a mix engineer, someone who does post-production, fixing dialogue, or any sort of audio, fixing little tiny things, this is probably going to be something you want. Is it going to be something you want to pay for the upgrade on, though? I don't know, because it is fucking expensive to upgrade. I can't say, because like they have loyalty offers, and like mine is like fucked up. Because they gave me an NFR for RX10, but not for RX11, and I think the prices are different based on whether or not you have an NFR. For those of you who don't know, NFRs are not for resale license, generally for reviewing, etc. Generally, content creators get sent that. Not me this time though. They don't. They're mad at me. I don't think they're ever gonna not be mad at me again. Let's just say your boy made some jokes. They did not like them jokes. All right, they did not like them jokes. They're probably fine with the milking jokes. They didn't like the personal jokes though. I mean, the personal jokes are way funnier if I'm being honest. That's just my opinion though. As an upgrade, really hard to justify unless you're really looking at like the mid-side stuff, maybe the loudness optimization. It's just, is it worth that price though? Like I heard it was a $300 upgrade for the advanced. I don't know, man. Like the dialogue isolate, that's also really good. Like if you're making big bank off of post processing, or any of those other fields I just talked about, yeah, it's probably an easy purchase because you can just write it off anyways. If you're somebody just not doing it that seriously though, it's probably wasted money. It's probably, you could also sail the high seas for it on some to Russia, if you get what I'm saying. If you're here for the music rebalance, I don't know what to tell you. Just get Ultimate Vocal Remover. You're gonna be way happier because you'll have $300 to spend on Yu-Gi-Oh cards, or Blow, or both. Maybe you can spend half on Blow and half on Yu-Gi-Oh cards. That's you got cards to chop it up with. And I got this humble little setup here, in this detective office. Life's tough, man. Life's tough. If you're enjoying this content, if you find it valuable in any way, consider subscribing. Trying to get to 75. Did I say 75 or 100,000 by the end of the year, guys? Let me know in the comments. Was it 75 or 100K? I can't fucking remember. It's been so long since I uploaded a video at this point. I'll have to go back and watch it in editing. If I get to 75,000 by the end of the year, I am going to shave my goddamn eyebrows. And for 25K, I shave my head. So I'm going to deliver, all right? I don't give a shit. It's going to be good content, all right? My video is going to be much funnier when I don't have eyebrows, when I look like a fucking freak, all right? It's going to be much funnier. I'm telling you. You're going to enjoy it. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking and subscribing. And if you press the like button on this video, I will shave your eyebrows in your sleep. Yeah, subscribe if you're new here. 75K? Did I say 75K? That seems kind of low for that. If you want to support the channel, consider joining my Patreon and becoming a channel member. For as low as $5 a month, you get access to exclusive content, outtakes, and other goodies. I'm about to upload a bunch of outtakes because I'm stacked up on them right now. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time.
Bang Incorporated.